Welcome back. Welcome back. You're tuned back into The Fix, your source for faith-infused hip-hop, R&B, and poetry, right here on SiriusXM channel 154, Holy Culture Radio. And it's time for our spiritual detox. And listen, you guys are in for a treat this morning. When I tell you we got a singing powerhouse on the line with us right now. She's been making waves since she, did her thing years. It's been about at least 6 or 7 years now since, you guys heard her on YouTube, and she was noticed, and everybody just started hitting her line because the voice is undeniable. Let's be very clear. She don't need no beat. She don't need nobody to back her up. She just needs you to get out of her way and let the Lord use her. Okay. So listen, I'm excited too as well because she has new music. She's been on a little hiatus, but she's back with a banger. So I'm excited to talk about everything, the journey and new music. So without further ado, help me welcome in Bree. What's going on, sis?
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm just excited to be able to talk with you.
No, listen, the pleasure's all mine. We definitely play your music. I know you haven't been making music, but we still play all your old bangers.
Appreciate
So we're
it.
excited about this new music too as well.
Thank you.
So one thing I want to ask, of course, we're coming out the back end of this pandemic. What's that one thing that you kind of learned from the pandemic?
One thing that I learned was isolation is a good thing sometimes.
Okay.
I feel like the pandemic was needed. I feel like that was God's way of getting back in touch with his people. And I feel like we needed a pause. I feel like we needed a pause from the everyday routine, and just the different things that we experience, in life. And I feel like, in that time, God was able to speak to me, and I, you know, he was able to really like come out with a lot of deep revelation. And I was able to really find myself and find myself in a good way to know what I want to do and what's the next for me. So I think for me, it's just being isolated and being okay with being isolated at times.
Mhm. That's good. Unfortunately, there was a lot of kingdom marriages that crumbled when the pandemic first
Yeah.
happened. I know you still in that new married stage. I tell everybody until you get 10 years under your belt, it's still new and fresh.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Most
So,
definitely.
why do you think so many marriages crumbled though, during the pandemic? Like, especially when you talk about kingdom marriages who are, supposed to be on covenant kingdom principles. Why do you think we had so many kingdom divorces?
Let's be real. The church keep you busy.
Mm,
So when you're constantly involved with things at church and you're not taking care of things, at your own home, sometimes that'll happen. Uh, I come from a church, well, was raised in a church where Monday through Sunday we had things going on at church. Literally, you didn't have time for family, you didn't have time for spouses and different things like that. So, I feel like when we were in the pandemic, there was nothing to run to. There was nothing keeping our attention. Where you had to face reality and actually deal with your home base. And at the end of the day, your first ministry is home. So if you ain't got that rocking and popping,
facts.
then you off anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
marriages work. I mean, marriage. Hey, I'm about to be 5 years in this thing, and it's still work. It's still a process. It's still a growing situation. I don't care at what level you're on, 10 plus years, 20, whatever. Like it's still a working process. But I feel like as far as in the kingdom, as we talking about kingdom marriages, I feel like um God just pulled the cover back on a lot of things and made people actually deal with things that they couldn't deal with before the pandemic because they were too busy doing other things and not focusing on what really mattered.
Mhm.